Welcome to On The Bit. I'm Dave from Dream Thoroughbreds, and with me is Lenny from Bluegrass Bloodstock. How are you, Lenny?
Good, Dave.
That's good, mate. A busy weekend at the sales last week?
Very busy.
Well, this week.
Yeah.
So we just only got back yesterday, so I know it's a tough weekend of racing last week, mate. So we're looking to bounce back this weekend with the Spring Carnival really set to light up this weekend, mate.
Certainly is.
A big day at Flemington and also a big day at Randwick for probably their biggest day of their spring. And so there's 4 Group 1s for the weekend. So the first Group 1 is at Flemington, the Turnbull Stakes over 2,000 metres. It's a set weights and penalties race, and an interesting race here, Lee.
It's always a fantastic race, Dave. I really enjoy it, and I'm pretty confident that Hawkesbury will run an absolute bottler this year. His form going into the race is very similar to last year when he was beaten just about half a length in the race. He was probably the run of the race last year, and it was pretty well highlighted.
Yeah, true.
This will be his 5th run in this preparation. He should be at peak fitness. He beat Royal Descent 2 starts back. Should be nearly favourite for the Epsom. Bagman, who finished 3rd to him in that race, will be on the 4th line of betting in the Metrop. So there's pretty good form lines going into it. There's a $10 quote about him on offer, which I think is great odds. So he's on the bit for mine.
Yep. Yeah, a really big field here. Should ensure a steady pace and probably give every horse a chance. I just think the logical selection is Happy Trails here. Should get a nice run behind the speed. I think he'll settle about 2 to 3 pairs back in the run. He'll be a lot fitter for his last run over 1800, and the 2000 is a good progression for him. His 4th run in to his prep. And he won this race last year off a very similar prep, and before he ran 2nd in the Cox Plate last year. He's $7 fixed at the moment, and I think on his last run that's good value. I expect big improvement from Green Moon in this race. His form at the Flemington 2000 is first class. He's only 2nd up in this race, but I think he's been safe for these runs at Flemington only, this preparation. He's drawn an awkward barrier. That was the thing that lets him down a bit, but if he does get cover, he can finish off pretty strongly in this, and he's a blowout chance at $21 fixed. But a good race, yeah, really open race. That should be interesting to see. It'll set the scene for the spring, later in the spring, I should say. The second Group 1 is the Epsom Handicap over 1,600 metres at Randwick, mate, and another pretty even race.
Pretty even, Dave. It's not a race I'm overly keen in to be betting. But the most consistent and strongest form line in this race is Royal Descent.
Yep.
She hasn't put a foot wrong. She's having her 4th run in. It's a 3rd run at the mile. That's the only query you got, whether she really wants a little bit further now. But for mine, she's been pretty consistent in the past 3 starts over Group 1 and Group 2 level. There's speed drawn inside her. She should settle sort of midfield with cover, and I expect her to be right in the finish. The Sacred Falls form, which she comes out of, is the best sort of mile form in Australia, so I think that's good form for this.
Yep, I looked at this race many times. I think it's actually a race of very few chances. The top 2 horses, Royal Descent and Boban, actually hold the key to the race. They've got the class edge over the rivals. And I just looked through the race to find a horse that might have found an edge over those top 2. And the only horse that I think fits into that category is Laserhawk. He led them up in the George Mains Stakes. He was 3rd up at the 1,600 metres. That was at weight for age. He had the blinkers on for the first time in this prep, that run. And he battled on really well to finish 3rd. Royal Descent just got him on the line. And I think he should be able to find the lead or just sit outside the leader in this. And he drops 5 kilos from his last start. And I just think he'll find that extra kick needed to win this. He's been carrying 59 kilos for his last 5 runs, so the weight drop's a real handy advantage for him. And he's $8 fixed. I think he's a massive chance. I think Boban will improve a lot, as I think he's a better horse the Sydney way of going. His 4th run in as well, probably set the peak of this run. He won this race last year with 53, so it's a bit of an ask to go up to the 58. But he's a class horse, and he just won a trial just recently about last week, actually, so he's primed for the run. Obviously, Royal Descent will be thereabouts. He does have Hugh Bowman on board. She has Hugh Bowman on board, which is a major advantage as well. But she does meet Laser Hawk 4 kilos worse off for their last meeting, so I am leaning to Laser Hawk. The next Group 1 is the Flight Stakes for 3-year-old fillies over 1,600 metres, mate. Bit of a thin race, but a few chances in this race.
Yeah, I love the set weights fillies races, Dave. I thought it was a race in two. Obviously, that's discounting Peter Moody's horse because it's coming from different form lines. But I thought First Seal and Winks last start. I'm leaning towards Winks because she was ridden upside down to sort of be close to Earthquake in the run, which I didn't suit her when Earthquake sprinted. She was left flat-footed, and she rallied strongly on the line, only to be beaten by First Choice. I think she'll settle back this week with the speed coming from Echo Gal, and I expect her to once they reach a rise at Randwick to really be hitting her straps. Like the mile to me seems like it's going to really suit her, and I think she'll be finishing over the top of them. So she's on the bit for mine.
Yeah, I thought it was hard to see them beating First Seal here. She ran a strong race against the Colts 2 starts back and got beat by Sway Ness, who's gone on and proved that form is very strong. Then she upset Earthquake at Winks in the T-Rose. I just thought she seemed like the filly that would be suited to the mile. I just doubted Winks would get the mile as strongly as First Seal. She's currently $2.80 fixed at second favourite. I just thought she'd end up being favourite for the race rather than Winks, so I went the other way. But you did get me last week, mate, on our 2 equal ones. You actually beat me on both of them, so you're in form, I'm not. But it'll be a good race, and I do think the Moody filly is pretty good too, so it should be an exciting Flight Stakes.
She's by a good stallion that's gone, Dave, in Thorn Park, and he's had some good horses race here, especially sort of milers, 2,000 metre horses, so I've got a bit of a watch on her. Yeah,
they did choose to run her in Sydney rather than Melbourne, which was interesting, so they obviously have a huge opinion of her. The last Group 1 is the Metropolitan Handicap over 2,400 metres, mate. And who you like in the Metro?
It's a good old race, the Metrop, Dave. It probably doesn't have the same relevance to the Melbourne Spring as it once did, but still a good race. I'm giving the horse probably he's on his last chance at this preparation. That's our Voodoo Prince. I thought he was most impressive horse last time in. Running round over the 2,000 metres, he looked like he was going to be a major spring player. His 3 runs in this prep haven't been outstanding by any stretch of the imagination, but his run at Moonee Valley with the 60 when he ran 3rd was a pretty good run. I think 4th run up here, getting out to the 1.5 miles, which he hasn't done in Australia, is going to suit. He has performed over that trip in the UK. And with the compressed weights, he's getting in with 55.5. I think he's going to be getting pretty hard, and he's on the bid at $20 each way quote for mine. Good price each way. I thought there's absolute moral in this race. I think Spillway will just brain him. He's a certainly beaten last start due to pilot error by Damien Oliver. James McDonald goes on. He won't make the same mistake on Saturday. I just think he's a class of, I just think he's a bit ordinary, these Sydney stays. He's won at Randwick before. He'll sit midfield. I think he'll round this lot up and over the rise win this quite easily, and then get himself into the Caulfield Cup, which I expect him to run a good race in as well. I just think you just get on. He's $4.60 fixed. I think it's money for jam. Stable news, like mate. What's your stable news this week? Dave, we ventured to the Magic Millions Patnack dispersal, thinking we were going to get a bargain. Yep. So did the rest of Australia and the world. There seemed to be everyone there, and probably some of the hottest selling that I've ever seen, and some of the older agents and trainers hadn't seen anything like it. So we walked away with one mare, and one of our other purchasers failed the scope, which was disappointing. But good to find out before you actually sort of go down. Well, that's why you do it, isn't it, mate? Yeah, it's exactly why we sort of follow our procedures of vet checks and doing everything X-rays to make sure that we safeguard ourselves and safeguard the owners. Yeah. So no runners for us this weekend, but we have Chosen Moment running at Ballarat next Wednesday.
in a 0 to 78 race over 1200 metres. A really nice race for him, and hopefully he runs well and he'll lead into the Grey Series over the Carnival. Amina heads to Mornington on Thursday for a 1200 metre maiden. She should be extremely hard to beat in that race. And Shoe Fetish will run on the same day at Mornington in a 1000 metre maiden, and again she should be pretty hard to beat. She's had a bit of a setback over the last couple of weeks, but she should still be fit enough for the 1000 metres. Duke 8 finished third in the trial on Monday, and he's ready to go the races again. And Boogie Days, the Doomsday filly, she heads to a trial at Cranbourne on Monday. So there's a bit happening next week, mate.
Yeah.
And we've also got Star Stable starting this week, so anyone interested in the Dream Team for horses, the Star Stable, go to starstable.com.au. We've got a private league number, 648822. Join that and see if you can win the Dream Thoroughbreds League. Best on breeding, Lenny. Who's your best on breeding for the weekend?
One of Matt Laurie's horses, Dave, which I've talked to you about.
Yeah, you like this horse?
Yeah, Staviva is running at Flemington in a listed race. I think he's pretty smart. He was a $75,000 purchased by Matt at the 2013 Melbourne Premier Sales. He's by the champion stallion in Costa del Lago, second foal, the multiple winner in Group Place Daughter in Bellesprit, Vivacious Spirit. She was a winner of over 250,000. Staviva's full sister, Costa Viva, is a Group 1 winner in New Zealand, so it makes this quite a valuable family and a good cross.
Exciting horse, eh? Yeah, good to see him at Flemington on Saturday. Value bets. I've got one value bet. Race Flemington race 8, number 11, Scratchy Bottom. This filly absolutely flies first up. She's won 2 from 2. She's shown tremendous ability in her 7 starts to date, including a 0.3 of a length third in the SA Oaks last. You're on the bid special for this week, Lenny.
Dave, going to Sydney, race 6, number 2, Famous Seamus. I think he's in a really winnable race here. He won a Group 1 last prep, this horse, and I thought he put the writing on the wall the way he finished off really hard behind one of Sydney's premier sprinters in Terra Vista first up. Yeah. He goes even better second up here, being in the money 5 or 6 starts. He loves the track and the distance, and that will really suit him here. He's going to get really good genuine tempo from Rain Affair, so he should be finishing over the top of him. And the $3 on offer on Bet365, I'll be snapping that up because he'll start shorter on the day. I'm
on the bit with Flemington race 3, number 1, Sea Moon. I just think he's the class galloper in this race. Don't be put off by the fact that he's first up over 2,500. He's already in the Melbourne Cup field. I think they'll just use this as a stepping stone. He'll probably only go second up into the Melbourne Cup. He's a true out-and-out stayer, quality stayer out of the UK. He won this race last year with the same weight. Yeah, I just like him. He should get a nice pace set up in this race with Ivachenko and marksmanship. So he should get a nice run sort of middle of the field, and I think he'd be too strong at the end of this. He's fantastic value at $4.40. I just think he's on the bit. So off the bit, Lenny. Who are you laying this week?
I'm laying the Chia Valentina and the Turnbull, Dave.
Yep.
I think it can be underestimated, these horses that perform at a good level on heavy tracks and then come back on the firm ground. Her best performances, she rattled home first up on heavy ground. It was a fantastic win, but it was heavy. Yeah. The Storm Queen win was on heavy. This is her biggest test to date. Yeah. She's taking on weight for age and handicappers at the highest level
on a firm track.
Which Flemington